Broadcasting live from sunny South Florida, this is KMA Talk Radio. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of fine cigars. Your KMA crew, the Italian Scallion, Paul DeGracco, Alex Tavella, a.k.a. The Goat, and always telling it like it is, Honest Abe.
I like to smoke them like the Winston Churchill, like John Kennedy, yeah. Remember Coach Red Auerbach, smoked up for victory, yeah. Well, you can take my wife, you can take my car, but you can't take my big cigar. My cigar.
Good morning to all our loyal listeners, libertarians, and lovers of the leaf. I'm your host, Honest Abe, broadcasting live from South Florida with our co-hosts today, my man, the Italian Scallion, Paul DeGracco.
Hey.
And sitting in for the GOAT, the real GOAT, in my opinion.
Drum roll.
The man himself, William Cooper.
Good morning, guys.
Look at that. Giving that an extra plug today. I love it.
Yeah.
What's going on, gentlemen?
It's all good.
You know,
Same old. 416 today.
Yeah.
Can you imagine 416? My buddy is stuck at home in quarantine for 10 days with COVID. He got the vaccine on Friday of last week, and Saturday he started symptoms. So he thought it was, some kind of issue with the vaccine, but then got a test and he has COVID. So anyway, he's quarantined, so he's like, I don't know what to do, man. All this time, I have all this time to stay upstairs and stay away from the kids. And I was like, you got 415 at the time episodes of KMA Talk Radio to catch up on, man.
Right.
So he's actually watched a few of them and made fun of me along the way.
Yeah, the goat is down with the vid himself.
Oh man!
Luckily, not too serious. They're just going through your waves of being sick and feeling better and feeling sick. But it's funny because my assistant Marissa, they're a couple, and she had gotten it, so he didn't have it, but eventually he got it from her. And I keep asking him, "How's Carmine doing?" He's like, all he says is, "Stay away from me."
Yeah, he told me the other day that he was like building barricades to keep them away from him.
So funny.
Yeah, but in GOAT fashion, he was like, he was still kind of ready to answer the bell. It sounded like even up until game time. So you gotta give the guy credit.
He said it goes in waves. He said, like, he could later in the day he'll feel better, like in the middle of the day, and then at the end of the day it's bad, and in the morning. Coop, give me a little bit less volume on you.
I think we're fixed already.
Tell him just a little bit.
I think we're fixed now.
All right. So, but how frustrating is it that he's gone this long without getting it, and then he gets it now? It's got to be the most frustrating.
He got it from Marissa, who got it from somebody, she was training. So, I mean,
right.
One of those little domino things. Luckily, no one got it really serious where, they had to get hospitalized, but it's inconvenient.
And they found it right away. So they're quarantining themselves from friends and family and coworkers and all that. But geez, it just stinks that like they went this long. Like, look how far you've come.
Yep.
But are you going to get vaccinated, Abe, or is that something you don't want to talk about?
No, I don't mind talking about it. I mean, my wife signed us up to get vaccinated, both of us.
Okay.
Let's just say I'm not 100% comfortable right at this point getting vaccinated. But
I was not either.
I'm not either. I'm not either, but I'm doing it. Yeah.
And now that I'm hearing you're supposed to do it every 4 months, it's like okay.
And they don't really know, but I figure for now, while it's still rampant out there, I'll get it, and then it'll be a game time decision afterwards.
A couple things just bother me. One is really, I mean, all these diseases you had going around, and this one you solved in a year.
They didn't. Yeah, I agree.
I mean, it came out the only year, and then just like how COVID in the beginning, the hospital didn't know how to hospitalize people, and people got sick. And hey, look at Alex. You don't have to get vaccinated. But, and people got sick and they didn't know how to treat them. I'm almost concerned it's like the vaccine too, I'm not sure if they got it right now, but my wife.
And the only thing that put me at ease was, so I have a few friends that are actually doctors. So, I mean, not that they know any more than the researchers, but the one thing that did put me at ease is at least with the Pfizer and the Moderna, every component of those vaccines has been in the works for 5 to 10 years, just not all together. So I'm less concerned that there's some kind of like new thing that they're pumping into us, and next year I'll have an extra leg, something like that.
Unfortunately for me, after 2020,
you don't trust anything.
I don't believe anything. I don't believe anything from anybody. No network, no station. If you talk, you're lying. And maybe not knowing. And maybe not knowingly lying. I'm not saying like they know they're lying, they're just being fed lies and repeating it. So I don't know, man. I just try not to think about it. I told my wife when that day comes, I'll make my decision. But
wow, Quentin spitting out games, saying the truth. The truth is, Alice couldn't make his top 10 pick for the week, so that's why he's not here today.
The shit talk
he's ready. He's ready. No, he was ready with that.
Don't worry, Coop and I have a much more relevant segment today.
Well, I don't know if it's relevant, but it's
damn straight. It's more relevant.
We've got people excited about boxing, talking about that as doing that. We have
all 5 of you are excited about it.
No, I'm telling you, we get a lot of feedback throughout the week on that segment. So maybe it's the whole top 10 concept, but people have actually come back to me on that, which people haven't talked boxing with me in a long time. So
we're gonna move stock prices today, Coop.
It's funny. Coop's just excited to talk about anything other than the Masters. I almost put my Masters hat on for you today, Coop, but I was like, I don't want to give them a free plug.
Let me tell you something. Living in North Carolina, people think it's like college basketball country and NASCAR, and both are very popular. Golf is like the sport in the cigar lounges here, and they watch it all year round. So like
It's the Masters, man. It's fun. It's fun. I don't watch any other golf tournaments. I watch the Masters.
Could you actually, with the exception of Tiger Woods, identify any of these golfers walking down the street?
Ricky Fowler, I could. I've seen him here. Jordan Spieth, I've seen here.
I couldn't tell you. Ricky Fowler, maybe I can identify. Jordan Spieth, I couldn't tell you. I could pick out of a crowd for sure.
I mean, he looks like everybody else in Jupiter, but I mean, I would.
To me, they need some superstars again. When Tiger's away, that sport just is like mediocre. There's just these guys don't excite me.
I'm gonna get a lot of heat right now. I know it, but when I moved to Florida, I made a statement. I still stand by it. You know, when you were young and you played sports, you had the calisthenics. You had to stretch out to prepare for the game or practice.
Right.
For me, like golfing was the calisthenics for death. You went out, you played golf for a few years, and then you moved on to the afterlife. That's kind of how I always looked at golf. I never got it.
I gotta say though, I never played. And the horrific story about my childhood upbringing is that my grandfather, my mother's father, paid for private golf lessons for my brother for many years. And when I was born and they saw I had absolutely no athletic ability, he made a joke, but I guess he was serious later as I got an adult, like, we don't want to waste that kind of money on you. But so I don't know how to play golf. I mean, I understand the game now as I'm older. But one of the things I
empathize with him. I feel that way every week after KMA.
So my wife works at a big resort here, or she used to work at a big resort here, but we still have connects there. I think one summer I'm going to do private golf lessons and just I don't know, especially in my business, if in sales type stuff, like that's business is done on the golf course, man. And any reason for me to be athletic and smoke a cigar and drink some bourbon, that sounds great.
Well, Paul, okay, I don't golf, right?
Yeah.
But let me tell you, I go to, in business, I understand the whole thing about golf. I'm the guy in the golf cart with the cigars all the time. I'm that guy.
You go with your clients on a golf trip and you just sit in the golf cart and don't golf?
I usually don't go with clients but we have the internal team events because again, I'm not a golfer. It doesn't make sense for me to go with clients. But with our internal team building type events, those things I have gone and I'm the guy in the cart.
Wow. I mean, I like driving the cart. I almost drove one off a cliff once.
I do too. I mean, they're fun. They're a lot of fun to do, and everyone, I just get to hang out, for sure. So I mean, but I just have no.
That's about it.
Yeah, I can do that. I'm not good at it, but I could do that.
As Quentin reminded everybody here, I won the Hit the Cart contest last time we went.
I could believe that.
Dude, it was so lucky. It was really so lucky. We'd put I think $10 or $20 a man up, whoever got to hit it first. And I just saw the guy making a quick sweep. It was my turn. I just went up there really quick, man. And I just whacked it. It was a lob ball, went up. Dude, we went nuts. You thought somebody won the World Series when I hit it. It just went crazy. It was awesome. For me, that's my hole in one in life right there.
Here's what I'll say. As much as I'm not a golf fan, I do respect it. It's not an easy sport. I mean, it's not easy to drive the ball 400 plus yards. I mean,
dude, it's the only pastime or sport that I know that people who play it are aggravated 90% of the time.
Yeah, right, exactly.
90.
90
golf clubs in the water in the lake, cracked in half. I mean, this is their relaxation,
Exactly.
And really, they're pissed off 95% of the time.
I know, but they don't have to be home with their wives, so it's.
I guess if you're weighing that, maybe.
But I mean, there are other things besides daddy daycare, and
Oh.
What the hell is that supposed to mean, Coop?
Oh,
See,
God.
we bring you on, and immediately.
No, I mean, you just said people use it to get out of the house, is what you were saying.
Coop
so,
is on fire already. I'm
just saying, if you need to get out of that, you don't have to say you're going to play golf. I'm sure there's other things you can come up with.
Jeez,
all right, well, that's true.
Now you're acting like a meathead.
Yeah. I know, Chrissy. Chrissy's always on my side. I gotta get out of it.
She what the fuck you? Not today.
Nah, she's saying she's saying what the fuck, like poor Paul DeGracco, I think is what she's saying.
I don't think
Back
so.
me up. I
Back
think
me
so.
up. He's begging for help. Back me up, please. Back me up, please. Are you going to Disney tomorrow?
Did I put that in the notes like an idiot?
It is in my goddamn
You were
notes.
You were going to Disney again? Didn't you just go?
Well, yeah, man. But listen,
Wrong, buddy.
Yeah.
Do you
Thanks,
drive?
Chrissy.
You drive up for the day, or do you stay overnight?
I'm canceling my trip.
What?
To go see Chrissy and Curtis at Executive Cigar Lounge.
You're such a liar.
No, we don't go up for the day. I used to before I had kids. It's not a bad drive. It's like 2 hours and 10 minutes. But no, we'll go up. We're gonna go. So my son Elias turned 1 this month. So we are going to last month.
Is your wife having like a birthday month? Because like Bill Rangone's having a birthday week. I don't know.
She does. She used to do that, not anymore.
Who does that? Like Bill's had a post every day about his birthday. I'm like, dude, how long is his birthday? It's like literally. I guess 50's a big year. I don't know. But so your wife does like a 30-day celebration for the
No. We wanted to go because we went for Axel's first birthday and we want to go for Eli's first birthday. It just didn't work out with our scheduling. So
so you're one of these parents that believes that whatever you do for one kid, you have to do for the other.
not necessarily, but we just like going to Disney. So we're gonna stay at Animal Kingdom Lodge and they're gonna wake up in the morning and see the animals.
It's about you. You
That's
guys.
fine.
Yeah. So do you see Animal Kingdom Lodge? Do they have like giraffe walking around and stuff like that?
You wake up in the morning, Coop, and you stand on your balcony, and you see, like, I'm sipping my coffee in the morning, and I see giraffes and
I thought
wildebeest.
so. I thought that was the case. Yeah, I thought there's something like that.
Listen,
It's freaking
just come to my
amazing.
house in the morning with the kids. It'll feel the same way.
This morning it kind of felt like that. I'm not gonna lie here.
So I'm going to be in Orlando around Memorial Day, and I got an announcement. I am not going to Disney. So I will not be going to Disney. I will be going to Corona Cigar. I'll be going to Cigar Hustler. That's where I'm going. And when I come down to Florida, I'll be going to Smoke Inn. That's what I'm doing on my vacation.
Cigar Hustlers up in the Orlando area?
It's close. I forget the city they're in. It's not
Deltona.
far.
I didn't know that.
Deltona. They're in
Deltona.
Deltona, which is right around where we stay, because we rent this
Okay.
house every year in the same place. So
Why don't you stay at Animal Kingdom Lodge?
because I like having a house I can rent and smoke at. Yeah.
Now, are you going with the missus?
Yes. So
Nice.
I'm gonna go to Miami in South Florida first, and then I'll catch up with the missus in Orlando for that week.
Now, I want to ask you, Will, since like you're really the veteran out of the three of us here in this room, because did you raise your kids equality for all?
I mean, I don't think we went against the concept of that, but I don't think there was this program. Hey, we got to have this equality for all concept. No, I mean, they were all treated fairly. I think. However,
I treat them fairly. I just also teach them that it's not one for all one. Whatever one gets, it's for all.
Oh no, I agree. I
purposely do that. I'll be eating a sandwich sometimes, and one of my kids will come and ask me, "Oh, can I have a bite?" I'm like, "Sure." Then the next one will run up, "Can I have a bite?" I'm like, "Nope."
No, right.
I'm like, "What? You just gave him?" Well, that's the way it goes. Sometimes he'll get it. Sometimes you'll get it. Sometimes you'll both get it. Sometimes you'll none get it.
Well, no, I agree with that. I mean like big things, I guess, is what I would talk about. Like if we do a big birthday party for the first birthday, it doesn't have to be the same exact type of thing, but we'd like to do that. I get that from my dad because I remember back when I was in college, my dad said, well, one, you have to take out loans and we'll pay it back the same as your brother if you finish, and if you finish within a period of time. Especially with financial.
Did he put at least a criteria on how you had to finish, or just finish?
Yes. No, he did. It had to be at least a 2.0 GPA. But I had a 3.7. I had a 3.7, man. But financial stuff was always fair with my dad. Like I remember I needed money for a new car, and my dad was like you, Abe. Like he's like, that's when it was time for me to drive. All my friends had BMWs and brand new cars that their parents just bought them. My dad was like, yeah, that's nice. He's like, you can buy our old Grand Voyager from us.
Well, I couldn't believe it. With all my kids, it's the exact same story. I've seen them get BMWs, Mercedes, and
try living in South Florida.
Yeah, and I gotta say, all my kids, they bought their own cars. The exception of my daughter, she was gifted one from my grandfather. That was the only not my grandfather, my father. But
not from you. So that's
But
fine.
she would have bought it. I mean, but all my other three boys, they've all bought their own cars. I
was gifted my first car,
Right.
which was my mother's Chevy Citation. I know half the people are gonna have to Google it to even see what a Chevy Citation.
I know what a Citation is. Yeah.
But they gifted it to me because my mom was gonna get a new car. So that was the car I got at 16. You know, it was on its last leg, wasn't much left. I think I got it for a year, and then finally the transmission went out.
That's kind of how my first cars were, because it was
then
like
my dad took me to co-sign a loan to get my real first car. Was a Mercury Cougar. So yeah,
of course it was.
Yep, at 17, I think it was like $6,000 used car.
So Chicago.
Yep, co-signed the loan for me.
Yep.
I made the payments, and then when I went to college, she was nice enough to help with the payments while I was going to school. But yeah, I co-signed my first loan, and so my first time I borrowed money, like financially, was like at 17.
Yeah, I mean, but there's whole little things like my kids learn to do, like get the car registered, get the car inspected. Of course, get the insurance. The insurance, I mean, we pay through me, but they pay me. They don't get all that.
They do. That was one thing I did get. I got that for free.
But I feel like
for my insurance.
I don't understand just throwing this like you mentioned a Mercedes or BMW to someone who's 16 or 17. I mean, look. Each of my kids have had to have, especially my oldest son, has had major fender benders too. It's driving's a little bit of a precision skill. I just wouldn't start off with something like that either.
They say statistically, if you're going to have an accident as a new driver, it happens in the first 6 months.
Yeah,
it happened with my oldest son has had the worst luck, and he's lucky.
Guilty.
He's lucky, yeah.
I did it in the first 6 months because
males.
I was the oldest in my grade, so I was like one of the first people to start driving. So all of a sudden, I was picking everybody up every weekend, and we had this thing about trying to get to a White Castle every weekend, and for some reason we always got deterred by something. So literally, for 4 or 5 weeks straight, we never made it to White Castle, and then
love it.
I mean, literally, something would happen. We chased some car or some group of people we saw or whatever. So we always got distracted. And then one night on the White Castle episode of trying to get to White Castle at probably 1 in the morning. I just did a blatant Yui without looking, man, and car just rammed into the side of us. So yeah, first 6 months.
I can't make fun of you. I mean, I've had more accidents than I care to admit. So it just
probably
is what it is.
Over the dashboard.
Yeah.
but I'll tell you this: my kids may not get a car from me, but they'll probably get a car from their grandparents. I'm assuming, but they're not going to get it from me for sure. And that was one thing that I grew up with. So.
Yeah, I mean, one of my sons bought one of my cars.
Paul, because you live in Florida. There's not public transportation down here or whatever.
There's not on Long Island either. But listen, I could borrow their car, but if I wanted to dedicate my own car, but my parents also had 3 vehicles at the time, so I used their cars. But and we'll probably do the same thing. I'll keep one of our cars for a longer period of time than I normally would, and let them drive the beater.
Listen,
that would be fine.
You kidding? Let me know what Stephanie decides what she's going to do. then we'll know what's boys will get and not get.
Yeah.
I don't know how we got onto this, but anyway, yeah. Wow, Chrissy is really not on my side today.
You have definitely. Paul, my mother and my wife's mother didn't learn how to drive until they were in their 30s in New York because public transportation was so good. There wasn't really a need for them to drive.
So both my grandmothers drove, but I had a lot of friends, Italian friends, whose mothers didn't drive when I was growing up, but they later learned to drive as we all got older. But yeah, I knew a lot of grandmothers didn't drive at all.
Yeah, I mean, it was when we moved to Staten Island when my mom learned how to drive, actually, because the public transportation wasn't as good there.
What I find utterly shocking since I moved to Florida, because when we grew up, listen, half my friends were driving at 13, 14, stealing the parents' cars, going for spins or whatever, By the time we're 15 and we started driver's ed, half of us already knew how to drive, and we couldn't wait. It was turning 16 was like turning 21, I mean, everybody started driving. Here
you get to drive.
Here in Florida, they don't care.
Huh.
I can't tell you 18, 19-year-olds, we didn't get it. I didn't get my license yet. It's mind-boggling. I'm shocked.
So I don't know if I ever said this. I think I told you guys my dad used to own a limo company, and he had a lot of sedans
Yeah.
and stuff, right? My wife will attest to this story being true because I've told the story. So when I would date girls, my father would give me one of those cars to drive, like which I wasn't supposed to be insurance-wise, by the way, because that was a big mistake. But he was still okay with it, right? I don't know why, but he would give me one of those cars to drive based on because I was driving like a Pontiac Grand Prix, like 78. But he'd give me one of those nice sedans to drive based on how much he liked the girl. And if he didn't like the girl, I did not get one of those cars.
I love it.
Man.
True story. True story. My wife but my wife got. I remember my wife. I got the Caddy that night. I got the Seville that night when I was dating my wife, and she'll tell you that story.
I got now that story took my head on a tangent now because I'm trying to picture Coop dating, So
I agree. I'm thinking the same thing.
Do you have a photo of somebody like you dated when you were in high school? You and her?
I have a photo of my wife and I. We dated in high school. We split for a while and we got back together a few years later towards the end of college.
Oh, that's a pretty cool story.
I do have a photo of that.
Do you have any photos of a non-wife photo? Or did she burn all those when you got married?
Do you keep those? Are you supposed to keep
I got to
those?
see if I have some of those. I may have a couple. My wife, she wasn't really the jealous type, so, but I don't want to say.
We should all dig up photos of girls we dated in high school. But you have to be in the picture. And
okay. That's going to be hard.
That's the hard part. Yeah.
My prom date. I could do.
Yeah,
my wife was my prom date.
Prom photo.
And that was my girlfriend.
I got one of my prom photos. I think we should pull that up. I think it'd be hilarious.
I need to get like real photos. I think because I don't know if I had a digital camera then. But are they going to allow?
We scanned them. My wife scanned a bunch of those in.
I got real photos.
Your wife scanned photos of you and your ex-girlfriends into the computer? That's a little weird.
Well, not that one, but I mean old photos. I don't know if there's a lot of those out there. But there wasn't like a lot of those serious relationships where I actually ended up in a photo with a girl is what I'll just say. So
that sounds suspect.
Did you go to both your proms with your wife?
We went to my prom. And I
You're
don't
older?
remember we're actually literally the same age.
Oh, okay.
She's
So you
actually a
didn't
couple
take her
months
to
older
her
than me. I think it was the issues. We went to different schools, and the difference was I think her prom had taken place, and she didn't go for whatever reason. So she really wanted to go to a prom, and actually that's what happened. Is we knew each other, and I just said, "Hey, go to the prom with me."
All right, let's make that a project for one of the KMA shows. See
I don't know if what about are the ex-girlfriends going to be okay with that? I'm sure there's some that are not
out of here.
like that.
You know who you are, where to find you now. Put it up.
What do you mean they don't know who I am? These women troll me on Facebook. They wish they were my wife.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Do they like Disney?
Okay.
Look at this castle I live in. I'm huddled in a corner in my 200 square foot bedroom. Who wouldn't want to live this way?
And I'm pretty sure in about another 30 minutes we'll get to see your unmade bed.
The unmade bed. I recorded that.
Well, that's not on me. I mean, I'm not going to make the bed.
Oh my gosh!
Don't you have the cleaning woman come in? You told me this week you had a cleaning woman come in.
No, are you saying
right,
that? Are you saying that making the bed is Stephanie's job? Is that what you're saying?
No, I would never say that.
That's what it sounded like you said.
I would never
say it.
I'm gonna soundbite that clip. It ain't my job to make the bed. Oh yeah.
Let me ask you a question, Abe. Do you make your bed?
I do not.
Okay.
I'm real funny about that.
I'm afraid to say it.
I'm real funny about that. I do not like an unmade bed. So I mean, most of the time my wife makes it, but like on the weekend if she goes out shopping, so I'll make it. And I'm like,
so listen. When I was single, I learned to live like efficiently as possible, where I had the least amount of footprint of actually living in a house, so I didn't have to really clean it up and shit. I had the one cup that stayed by the sink. That's the only cup I drank out of. Rinsed it, turned it. That was my one cup. So my bed trick was when the bed was made, I would come home. I'd have a sheet because all I needed was a little sheet, and I would.
Terrence always says this: "You have a good union."
Yeah, I would sleep on top of the made bed with a sheet. Wake up in the morning, fold the sheet up, throw it in a drawer. My bed was made.
That's actually not a bad idea.
Oh,
see, I don't care about an unmade bed because who's going in my bedroom other than me and my wife and sometimes my kids.
I was single. I never knew who may come home one night.
Yeah, that's true.
So I would just always sleep on my bed already made. Literally.
Let me ask you.
The sheets inside, underneath were always clean. They were never used. I would just lie on top of the comforter, sleep, pull a sheet out of the drawer, sleep. In the morning, roll it up, wipe the bed down. I was good to go.
Quick question before we bring on our guest. Did you ever not change the sheets between girls? Like if you were with one girl, 1 week, and then the next week you were with a different girl, did you ever just not change the sheets?
Are you kidding me? Like half the time I'd pull the sheets while she was still lying on them and throw them in the water. Who would do that? That's so nasty.
Sometimes you get caught in a situation where you don't have time. Like, I don't know.
Goodness.
Don't have time. What are you, back to back? What do you don't have time?
No, I'm not claiming that, but if a day or two goes by and you go on another date and you're like, oh, all right, sure, yeah, come back.
I just want to understand this. You would frolic in a bed and then leave those sheets
frolic.
There. Yeah, frolic in a bed with some strange girl you found.
Not strange. I mean,
whatever. And then you would let those sheets stay there?
Yeah, definitely. Until the cleaning lady came.
But then again, you're also the same guy who doesn't wash his face in the morning.
I did not wash my face this morning.
I don't. It's like the first thing I do. I can't wake up till I go to the sink and wash my face. I don't know how you don't wash your face in the morning.
I don't know. I showered last night before I went to bed, and then I woke
your
up
body
this morning.
secretes stuff while you sleep.
Dude, I don't know what kind of sleep you're doing. My body doesn't secrete stuff.
Sure it does.
Well, anyway, we have a guest on the show who has been on the show, but never on like the formal KMA Talk Radio. We had him on briefly as a guest when we were at Lazona Palooza. I think 2 years ago.
Yeah,
so
it's 2 years ago.
I think it's about time for our Meet Your Maker.
I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell.
It's time to meet your maker.
So big KMA Talk Radio welcome goes to Justin Andrews from Scandinavian Tobacco / General Cigars, focusing on the Diesel brand, correct? Did I get that right, Justin?
That's pretty close. You got to throw Forged in there somewhere. So my business card is getting longer every day.
Do they write all that on your business card for real?
God, I hope not. I'm sticking with my old ones, but Jesus, it'll be an index card by the time we're all done with it.
That's great.
Well, that's a good question, though, because Coop and I were talking about this yesterday with Abe during our meeting. So with Fords in there now, how does that structure work? So it's Fords is certain brands and General is certain brands. Is that, and it's really just the sales departments that are divided? Is that what it is?
I was told there was going to be a few softball questions as we started this segment. I didn't know we were getting right into the hard-hitting journalism. I still had some car comments and some sheet comments.
All right, that's a complicated question.
To answer your question, no, yeah, it's Forge distributes a different section of our portfolio than our General Cigar sales rep. So it's tough when you had one rep selling 37 brands to one retailer. So it's kind of a divide and conquer thing. So it's been it's an exciting challenge for us for sure.
But I guess in the company, right, the brand managers, right, they don't work specifically with General Ford. They're STG, Scandinavian. So that would be your case, correct?
That's correct. So yeah, if you were getting technical with it, I technically work for Scandinavian Tobacco Group, but
okay.
I have brands that are distributed by General Cigar and brands that are distributed by Forged.
Got it.
Well, I had the pleasure of meeting Justin. It's not fun. I'm serious. I had to play. I don't know why. Man, Justin must think I'm a really, really bad dude. It's like I saw him at Rocky Patel's party and he came up to me and was like, "Are we good?" Yeah, what's wrong? We ain't good. There's wrong with us. But I know I really had the pleasure of meeting him at Lazona Palooza a couple years ago. And I got to be honest with you, even back then when you were talking, actually, smoking the war zone. I think that's what we were talking about at the time.
Yep.
Yeah, that's exactly. And we were smoking it at the time too.
I was very impressed with how you were trying to take a part of the culture in this industry and incorporate it into a company that really never really tapped into it, and I think you've been doing it successfully. And I think maybe that's what Forge is trying to get more into. I mean, I'm not sure. I'll be honest with you. Not just myself. A lot of other guys in the industry, like what's going on here, we don't see it. But I like the fact that you're doing projects like Warzone and stuff like that to give a little more excitement to what's going on with a lot of the, with a bigger, huger company.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's something that I came to the company with a few years ago, and it was basically an excuse to let me work with some of my friends in the industry. But from a strategic side, I mean, we've got this huge warehouse of tobacco, this extensive tobacco library. And a lot of guys like Eric, he'd never had the chance to work with real authentic African Cameroon. And we have a bunch of it. So I was like, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to sit here and understand these guys make some really great cigars. We have some really great tobacco. Let's get together and have some fun. So it's been exciting, man. And thankfully I've got a boss who allows me to go do some crazy stuff. And I think after 5 years with General, they finally got tired of me just, constantly throwing up these crazy ideas. And they're like, okay, fine, just go try it. And they give me enough rope to hang myself. So we'll see how long I'm around, depending on the success of all these collaborations and these crazy ideas I have.
Well, listen, out of the box is where the best shit happens. That's what I always say. So
yeah.
Well, yeah, and
they may not win grand slams, but that's where the best shit happens.
Right. And not everything's going to be as successful as Warzone, but man, I want to try. That's the thing. If you're not trying, you just get complacent. And I'm not one for just doing things for the sake of doing them. So it's exciting. It's challenging, keeps me interested. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time now, and it's nice to have some new challenges.
I mean, my first interaction with Justin was like in a Facebook banter. We'll call it a banter. We'll call it a banter. That's what we'll say. Well, because I really didn't know Justin.
Uh-oh.
What's uh-oh? What do you?
I don't know. Well, because I've seen some of your Facebook banters from.
Well,
the
I remember
past.
this
Who
one.
knows?
I know which one
All
this
right,
is.
so look. I'm a retailer at heart. That's what I do. That's how I live. I eat, breathe, servicing consumers. Coming even from the grocery industry, anybody's been to any nice grocery store, part of what you learn or what you do is learn how to merchandise, stack stuff, design stuff, put stuff up so it looks visually appealing. So I made a comment a couple of years ago about the new release, which was a great success. I mean, the cigar, I didn't think I heard anybody talk bad about it. But, for me as a retailer, especially not just buying from this particular product, but anybody, sometimes I go nuts when I see packaging because I can't merchandise it. I can't put it up anywhere. I can't do it. So I made a comment about the chop suey because of the chopsticks. I'm like, how are you going to display this? How are you going to put this up? This has to be one of the worst ideas ever because I'm thinking to myself here, I ordered 30 boxes. And what am I going to do with them? I'm going to lie them all on the floor one by one next to each other because you couldn't stack them because of the chopsticks. And Justin in defense of his company came and, and we kind of went back and forth. And that was our little, how should we put it, introduction to each other.
Is that my cue?
Well, no, it's not your cue because we're all in good fun. I did a little demonstration. I was trying to prepare something. So we have a little video I made.
Oh, no.
Just for you.
I should have seen this coming.
Let's play it.
It goes on for a long time, so.
Yeah, he did a loop.
Oh, man.
That was all in fun, brother. This is an entertaining show. We had to throw it up there. But listen, you were right. It was a successful band. You did great. But like me being the hardcore retailer, I made a statement at the time. And we had fun with it. And then we ran into each other in La Zona. And it's all in good nature.
No,
by the way, Abe,
it was a lot of fun. Yeah, and you weren't wrong. You were right. I get a little stubborn sometimes. It's funny, at General, we're kind of like a locker room. Internally, man, we'll challenge and fight and argue. But as soon as we leave the locker room, it's like defend until the death. So sometimes I get caught up in things. And I was looking at your post and I was like, well, he's got a point. But hopefully this thing sells out fast enough to where you don't have that inventory problem. But I will say, hey, you were kind, because I remember one of the comments, you were like, Justin, I appreciate your passion. This still doesn't solve my inventory issue here, like my merchandising problem.
I did notice, though, the year after with the Kung Pao punch release, which was a follow-up, you could stack up those Chinese takeout trays. I'm just saying.
That's right. We had Abe's face in our conference room, and we had some of the comments, and I was like, guys, how are we going to solve this?
Listen, if my blunt comments sometimes make something better, I'm all right with it. Well, you'd be surprised. Look, I've always said any good manufacturing company should have a seasoned retailer, working somewhere in their company, because there's a lot of things I'll never understand about what you do. Whether it be tobacco growing, production, logistics, whatever it is, because I don't do that every day. And there's a lot of times, and I've seen it because I've sat on advisory boards for some manufacturers. They just don't see sometimes the plate of what a day-to-day retailer's got to do or go through, or sometimes they'll create, especially in the accessory market, they'll create a product. Like, one of the products I really liked, he sat in my office, was the Bugatti guys, who had the little fuel cans. And they were showing it to me way before they put it on the market. I'm like, this is cool. I kind of like that you have an extra can. I even told them it'd be cool if you did a little marketing campaign, how someone's lighter didn't work, and you could take the can out and pass it to a guy. You could do a little shot and charge it up and put it back in your lighter. But their packaging looked like basically a vape or an iPhone box. And I'm like, the beauty of your product is not going to be translated anywhere. No one's going to understand it. It's something that needs an explanation. And if you're going to depend on the people who work the floor all over America to be that interpreter for you, yeah, you're going to have a hard time. So a lot of times they don't realize what we have to go through and the struggle on the, in the retail doors. But,
No, that's a really good point. I was fortunate one year. They pulled me over to our sales organization. I got to travel with all of our sales reps, and it really was eye-opening to go to these retailers and some very simple issues that I just wasn't aware of, like the front mark name on the size of the box and how big the font was. I've had retailers that are like, look, when I'm 3 rows up and 30 boxes deep, it's hard for me to see if this is a Robusto or a Toro if you only have it on the front of the box. And so that's one of those things. So you're right, Abe. I mean, we've got some really good insight from our retail partners. And then you've got some guys that are, it's grab and go. They're just merchants, whatever. Then you've got actual aficionados and retailers that are passionate about the product, passionate about how it's displayed. And you're right. Sometimes as marketers, we sit in our ivory tower and we come up with these great ideas. And then, Joe, the retailer's like, this is great, but how can I merchandise this thing? And I've worked with some people before that are like, screw it. They'll figure it out. And then, so we do try to be mindful of that.
I've gotten that from a manufacturer. I can't just stack them sideways. What do you mean stack them sideways? I've gotten that comment, like, this won't work. You want me to order 50 boxes, or where am I going to put 50 boxes that won't stack? Well, if you put them sideways and lean something, okay.
Tetris model.
Going back a little bit though, Justin, before we hit the break, I want to touch on your beginnings, because you have kind of a unique story to how you got into the business, right? I mean, kind of like right out of college, you kind of jumped into a somewhat top position in a smaller company. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, I feel all of us that have been in this industry for a while, we kind of have a unique path. And even from explaining to people what I do for a living, there's never that, oh, okay, I get it. It's like, you do what? Cigars? Like, that's a thing? But so, yeah.
To do that?
Yeah, so it was a unique path. So I come from a family of tobacco farmers, cigarette and chewing tobacco farmers in North Carolina and Virginia. So I grew up around tobacco my whole life. I was used to it. Abe, when you were talking earlier about driving at a young age, I remember driving my grandfather's F-150 when I was like 13 years old around the farm, practicing, learning how to drive stick shift. So like that's how I learned how to drive. So when I turned 16, I mean, it was like Christmas morning. I was so excited, ready to go get my license, but I'd been driving for years. So I grew up in that environment. I grew up going to tobacco auctions. I grew up, picking tobacco and never really had any desire to be a part of tobacco. When I was a little bit older, my family sold the farms and kind of got out of the business. And I went on to pursue other things. And when I came back to college, I was a junior, and it was right in the middle of the recession. And I was, looking for work and looking for internships, which back then is kind of like now with COVID, there just wasn't a whole lot of opportunity for young college grads or people looking for internships. And I found a Craigslist ad that said, looking for marketing intern to help start a premium cigar company. I was like, well, I know tobacco. And at that point, I didn't understand there was a difference between cigarette tobacco and cigar tobacco. So that's why I could do this. So I applied. I think I was one of like 35 kids that applied, but I took it a step further and kind of put down some ideas on paper on my route to market, how I would introduce a new product, some kind of guerrilla marketing tactics. And fortunately, I was the only one that did that. And so I got the internship. And it's funny, my first project was to basically copy the Rocky Patel retailer list off of his website and put it into a Excel spreadsheet so we could send some samples off to retailers. And fast forward a few years later, I had 50% equity in the company and was vice president of marketing and was basically running our very small micro boutique company. And man, I fell in love with it. I graduated in 2010. Lou hired me full time, and in January of 2011, I went and spent 30 days in Nicaragua. So it was kind of baptism by fire there. So really got to see some interesting parts of the industry. And I mean, everything from sweeping the floors to learning how to roll cigars. And now, 11 years later, looking back, that experience was invaluable. It was truly helped shape my career. Little did I know that would be my only professional job that I've had to date. So it's and obviously now working for General, I'm on the other side of the fence from a micro boutique. So that could be a whole other segment of how I had to adjust and learn what it was like to actually have some money.
Yeah, but I like the fact that you're bringing the component of the micro boutique to your new job. I think that's pretty cool.
Well, it helps because we were just, scraping and clawing for everything that we could. And 2009, 2010 was kind of pre-boutique boom. I think it was us and Roman Craft. There was maybe a few others, but there still wasn't this like abundance of boutique cigar makers. And fortunately for us, we were vertically integrated. Lou's uncle, Gregorio Vasquez, has a cigar factory in Esteli called G&G Cigars. So we had this very, kind of poor man Padron model. We didn't have sales reps. We had very basic packaging, box press Nicaraguan cigars. And within our first 3 years, we were in about 350 accounts across the country. So it was pretty successful to start, especially for two guys who didn't know what they were doing.
With Lou Rodriguez Cigars, I mean, you and Lou really worked hard at events and stuff like that. I mean, Seth and I talk about the event you did at Havana Phil's, and I can't believe it's 10 years ago. We never saw two guys work so hard on an event, just making people happy, explaining the product. You guys were mixing drinks that night. It's still one of the best events I went to from a very small company.
Well, we knew pretty early on we had to have an experience. There had to be, we weren't the cheapest cigars. And there had to be a reason for you to take a chance on this company that you'd never heard of. So from making mojitos to doing weekly raffles, grand prize giveaways. I mean, we really set up this whole retail event program. And we were fortunate. I mean, guys like Havana Phil's, Havana Mix in Memphis. Todd Daly at Good Karma Cigars in Texas. We were able to get some pockets of strength there, and people really enjoyed the events. And Lou being a first generation Cuban and a physician at that, we had a unique story, and thankfully the cigars kind of held their own. We had inventory issues, but we never had issues for people saying we didn't have a enjoyable smoke. So we had a lot of the ingredients for success. But anytime you're a small company, and it takes a lot of capital to do what you want and to make the cigars that you want. I remember a conversation with Gregorio. I said I wanted broadleaf. And he's like, well, you sell more of this Habano, we'll buy broadleaf. So it was always a challenge for us to get the tobacco that we wanted and be innovative. But man, it was a fun 6 years. It was a good ride.
It seems like it was obviously a great time for you, but like an extremely great learning experience for you. I mean, obviously, look where you ended up with that kind of experience.
Yeah, and it shapes everything that I do today, because you know what it takes to get things to market, and you understand what it's like to you have to connect with each of these consumers. I mean, because it's a choice. We're trying to add value to everyone that purchases our cigars, and I try to keep that in mind now, especially that I'm dealing with these mega brands and these historic brands that have been around forever. It's still trying to create that connection and that thing that makes our product different and makes it special. So I keep those things in mind, and I wouldn't want to replace that experience with anything. Traveling around on the road 250 days a year, begging and pleading to get 2 box orders. Man, it really makes you appreciate the things you have. And I laugh when people see an Instagram post that I make and they're like, oh, it must be nice. And I'm like, yeah, but you weren't with me when I was driving in July from South Carolina to Georgia, staying at the Fairfield Inn, and my clothes smelled like, 15-day-old cigars, and I'm eating McDonald's. Like, yeah. This is the good stuff now. That was the beginning.
It's funny how people make those assumptions because they don't know the road traveled. I think we get that all the time. People look at our organization, our company, and especially if they just met us or just found us, they think, oh, wow, these guys they don't know when, we were struggling every day and, shuffling whose bills we were going to pay to make sure that, everybody kept shipping us and, the whole road. I mean, it's most people don't realize it. So yeah, that does happen a lot. We have a couple of Ask KMA questions I want to get to before the break so we don't miss them. First question is this. I think it's a kind of a cool question. My screen just moved, but it was about, and this is kind of good because if you want to plant the seed now, it'd be a good time to do it, is if you wanted to do a collaboration with somebody you haven't done one to date, who would be at the top of your list?
Oh, great question. Fortunately, we've got, we're not going public yet with anything, but I've got some really cool collaborations lined up for the rest of this year. But the guys that I've looked up to in this industry for a long time, guys like Eric Espinosa, guys like Pete Johnson and Dion and Matt Booth, all the boutique guys that I really aspired to grow my small company towards. I mean, these are guys that I really look up to. And even from a factory standpoint, working with El Titan de Bronze on the new Cohiba Series M and working with guys like AJ, I've been pretty fortunate to work with a lot of the guys that I've looked up to for a long time. And there's definitely some guys that I still want to work with. And hopefully we can make that happen.
You don't want to name anybody? Somebody that's nowhere on your radar, that you're not working on anything with? Hey, this is somebody I'd like to work with one day.
I'm trying to think if there's somebody that I don't know or haven't had communication with.
Probably at this point, you've probably talked to everybody one way or another.
Well, fortunately, sitting in the seat that I am with our company, when we call you, most people usually answer the phone. But I can tell you, I mean, I smoke everybody's stuff. And I mean, I'm a cigar nerd. I geek out. And I mean, I remember the first time I met Ernesto Correa. I remember the first time I met Jorge Padron. I remember the first time I met Rocky. And even some of the guys that I haven't met, guys like Kyle at Warped, I'm a big fan of what he does.
Hey, he lives in our backyard, and I haven't met him, so don't feel bad.
Yeah, no, he's a good dude. I mean, Skip and I have a lot of fun at each other's expense, but I can't knock what him and Mike Rosales have done. He's a great guy, and Andre at Viaje. So, man, if I had it my way, we'll work with more people than not. So I've got a big list there.
I got another KMA question real quick. This is probably obvious and doesn't need answering, but they want to know who's better at baseball, you or Eric Espinosa. All I know is if Eric Espinosa plays baseball anywhere like how he plays poker, it's got to be you, Justin.
He told me that he was definitely in his prime. He was definitely a better baseball player than I was. So I've heard he's a pretty good softball player too.
Wait, no one doubts that that's what Eric would say. Our question is, who do you believe was a better baseball player?
Even though my career was about the length of a Cuban coffee, You had a career.
You had a career.
I might have had a little more coffee in my cup than Eric did in his. So
yeah, we have definitely heard stories from Eric about how great a baseball player he was. Nobody's been able to corroborate it.
No. Eric's been somewhere and go, bro, come on. I was awesome baseball player.
Well, that's like me. The older I get, the better my stories get. So it's it's fun to look back and have some of the stories are larger than the reality.
That does happen. As you get older, and I know it's just me, but not just that, but like even things you thought was awesome, or you thought like a movie or a place you used to eat that you haven't been to in 20 years, like a movie that you enjoyed and it was one of your favorites, and then you make somebody watch like, wow, that movie kind of sucks. You ever do that?
It's funny. This just happened to me. So, the new Coming to America movie came out on Prime, and I did not want to watch. I still haven't watched it.
Awful.
Right, and that's why. But growing up, I was an Eddie Murphy fan. He was from Long Island. He was a stand-up comedian. He did a lot of things I wanted to do. And Coming to America was like the epitome of a hilarious movie to me. But I grew up with it. It's so nostalgic to me. And we were watching it the other night, and my wife is like, "This is unwatchable. Like, I cannot watch this." And I thought in my head, like, maybe it's because of when I saw it, like where I was in my life, that kind of thing. Like, if you watch it at 30 something years old, maybe it doesn't have the same impact.
Doesn't have it. Yeah, I agree.
But I watch it now and I still love it. And I quote the whole damn movie throughout the whole thing. But she was like, I can't, I'm going to go, I'm going to go make t-shirts. I got stuff to do. I can't watch this. That exact thing happened.
I've really deterred myself from watching old great movies like that because I don't want that new memory.
Right.
Because I've been let down. Like I've watched something I'm like, no, must have been funny back then, but it ain't that great now or whatever. I think our standards, what we expect, change. I think the level of what we think is good goes up and changes as more creative stuff comes up over time. But
no, that's true.
The one thing that remains timeless for me, for whatever odd reason, is still the Three Stooges.
Oh,
that shit's timeless. I don't think
absolutely.
I'm ever not going to find them funny.
Absolutely.
I can't remember the last time I watched it, but
I've
been going through this because I'm making my son watch like all these old cartoons that I used to watch and things like that. So, and he finds, especially things, even cartoons from like the 40s and the 50s, like the Looney Tunes shows that were old when I was a kid, and the old Disney shows. He asks for Goofy at night, like the old like How to Swim from 1948 or whatever it was made. Like can I watch How to Swim before I go to bed? I'm like, yeah, go ahead.
If you want to do those boys any justice, when Stephanie's out of the house, you better play them some Three Stooges.
I'll put it on. Absolutely.
Really
I loved
fun.
it as a kid.
And it's not bad stuff. I mean, it's not like you don't have to worry about it. It's funny
Little
stuff.
Rascals is good. Little Rascals is good. But
yeah.
All right. So listen, it's at the top of the hour. We're going to take a short little break. We're going to have more with Justin Andrews after our break and our segment sponsored by Abo Cigars. We're going to see how the record spins with Justin Andrews right after this. Keep it lit.
Surgeon General warning. Cigar smoking can cause cancers of the mouth and throat, even if you do not inhale. With Altadis rich in profound history, it only makes sense to showcase one of their popular cigars after Mr. Henry Clay. Receiving a top 10 spot in Cigar Aficionado's top 25 cigars, the Henry Clay Warhawk has top-notch construction while boasting with complex flavors. Cloaked in an Ecuadorian Connecticut shade wrapper with a Connecticut broadleaf binder and a Nicaraguan Criollo fillers, this medium to full-body smoke has flavor notes of toasted almonds, earth, and a peppery finish that pairs nicely with a lemonade. It is available in 3 sizes, Corona, Robusto, and Toro. If you're looking for a cigar that has an abundance of flavor and history, then this 95-rated Henry Clay Warhawk is the cigar for you. Surgeon General warning. Cigar smoking can cause cancers of the mouth and throat, even if you do not inhale.
Oh, it's just you. Who doesn't love a shower sip of a good glass of wine? And our friends over at KMAWines.com, they have some great wines from Bonner Private Wines, like this Sunal from the winery that's up 8,950 feet in the air, one of the 3rd largest vineyards in the entire world. You know, we work so hard. You gotta relax, you gotta enjoy the finer things in life. A great cigar, a really, really great wine to pair it with, and that's exactly what I'm doing here. So check out KMAWines.com. You get a discount because we know each other. We're buds, we're pals. You get a discount on shipping, you get a discount on products. KMAWines.com, and tell them that Paul and Abe sent you. I'm going to be late back to the show while I finish this and finish the shower. So see you at KMAWines.com. There it is.
Paul.
Standing ovation.
Wow. Paul, listen, Paul, man, I gotta really give you credit, man. You take a lot of stuff, but man, you got balls, man. I gotta say that.
Don't give him credit. Listen, let me tell you something. When I pitched this idea to Paul, I said, dude, this guy's gonna love doing this. This is because Paul's always talking about his Broadway and his artistic side, and I'm like, Paul's gonna run with this. He's gonna get stupid. He's gonna go nuts. He's gonna enjoy it. And week after week, we get this lame shit from his bedroom with his unmade bed. Not look how nice that was. Good. Who did the video? Steph?
Yeah, and to answer your question, Quentin, I actually continued my shower after we filmed. So yeah, that was my first nude scene in my life.
That was great. That was great. Yeah. Now we're talking some creativity. Well done, sir.
Oh, wait, hold on. Angelica Perez likes this. All right, well, here we go.
I mean, Paul, it was good. You could use your shower cap at least, right?
I said to my wife, I was like, I need like a grandma shower cap. Do you have something? She's like, I got like 5 shower caps, of course. So I picked the girliest one possible. Dude, we filmed a couple last night. But I was kind of whispering because we don't have a giant house yet, and I didn't want to wake up the kids. But we drank a bottle of wine last night, filming a couple of them. So,
do you normally shower with your glasses on?
No, I do not. And it's funny that you mentioned that because somebody said to me the other day because we were talking about I bought a new shaving kit because mine broke, like a buzzer to trim my beard, and they're like, well, why don't you just do it in the shower? I don't understand. I'm like, I don't have glasses. I can't see a damn thing. And I don't really wear contacts anymore. I have them, but I really don't wear them. I'm not going to put contacts in just to go in the shower and shave. So I was looking at like the vacuum ones and they don't work. I've seen all the reviews on them. But anyway, yeah, no, I do not normally shower with my glasses. You're muted, Abe.
It was very nice to have you see some creative, finally, input and put a little bit of pizzazz in that spot.
Well, there's a couple more. The wine is good. Listen, I just want to say, like, they're good quality foreign wines. Don't let my my cheese factor stray you from the fact that these are really, really good foreign wines at great prices. These guys are buddies of mine from way back in the day, and when I brought them to Abe wanted to try the wines first. I mean, of course.
Isn't part of our deal some like quarterly samples?
I think it is actually. I'm gonna have to reach out to him.
Yeah,
I spoke to him the other day, actually. So
listen,
yeah,
Paul gets this big shipment and he goes, "Here, Abe, they sent you 2 bottles of wine." He's laughing because he knows the truth.
No,
He thinks I don't know.
No, I think we got 9 bottles, and I gave you 3.
Yeah, there
Maybe
you go.
4.
Paul gets the lion's share.
They're gone. They're gone now. I'm waiting for more. That Sunal is in high demand right now, and it's a true story though that getting the wine from the vineyard up on the mountain is the hardest part. So they spend more money doing that than they do actually making the wine. But they're Bordeaux, they're true Bordeaux grapes too. That's the other thing I was talking to them about a couple weeks ago. That they were brought over from France before the blight happened in Europe. So technically, those are original Bordeaux vineyard vines, more so than even the ones in France, because the ones in France now are ones that the U.S. gave to the European wine industry to save them after they had that huge wipeout back in the 90s. I think it was the 90s, whenever it was. So anyway, blah, 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 blah. I can't talk about them enough. They're great guys. KMAWines.com.
All right. So now it's time for our guest to be part of As the Record Spins. All right, so every week our good friends over at Alba Cigars, Eddie Guerra, he gave us a list of questions, and we asked our guest a question. Now, this was picked out random, but I think it actually works really good having you on, especially with your background of how you came up in this industry and what you're trying to do these days. So I'm going to ask you this question, Justin. Now, let's just pretend that Scandinavian Tobacco General Cigars didn't exist. So the company never happened, didn't belong, right? What cigar company would you think you'd be interested in working for or with, and why?
Oh, great question. Man.
I knew we'd get you, because there's probably so many options in your head.
These were actual, I mean, we have to plug and check the names, but these are actual questions that are provided for us, by them. And this question just actually fits because you're such a guy trying to meld 2 different cultures together, right? And I think it's great. And so this is not saying anything about your current employer. We're just saying, who do you see out there as something that you think would tweak your interest and saying, you know what, that could be a company or that could be a person I think I could enjoy working with and doing cool things with.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do tease my boss a lot about some other companies and some of the cool stuff they're doing and maybe how I'd be a fit. And then he so kindly tells me, he said, yeah, we'll pay your first year's salary if they hire you. Just take you off my hands. So
that's a good response.
But coming from a company, a small family-owned company, I've always looked at family businesses like the Fuentes, the Padrones. You have to admire what those guys are doing from the boutique world. I mean, those guys at Espinosa look like they have a lot of fun. I mean, I don't even know if Jack and Hector really work that much anymore. They're always having a good time. And as far as innovative stuff, man, I mean, Pete Johnson at Tatuaje has done some great stuff. Skip, the Roma family. So, those family-run businesses are. I keep an eye on them. They do a lot of great stuff. And speaking of Eddie Guerra, I'm a big fan of Davidoff and what him and Dylan Austin and the guys over there do. So, man, I can't give you a straight answer because there's a lot of companies that I admire, even Drew Estate. I mean, we're kind of in a similar situation with being a bigger company, but they've got a really good culture, and JD's is still rocking and rolling. So those are a few. If I'm in the industry, I'm happy. So I can.
Well, let me ask you this: in the last 2 years, right, maybe 19 and 20. Who has caught your attention the most as far as changing and being innovative or doing things, industry wise?
That's a really good question. I tend to focus on more of the boutique guys just to kind of get a pulse of what they're doing. I think Robert Holt at Southern Draw's done a lot of really cool stuff. Again, I've mentioned Dion with Illusion. I really like what he's doing. And a few years ago, especially like Robert Caldwell with the Lost and Found, him and Matt Booth, the stuff that they're doing. What really catches my attention is the outside of the box stuff. Even Alec Bradley with Alec and Bradley now getting involved. They're doing some really cool stuff, pushing the envelope. But I kind of bounce back and forth. I'm traditional, and I love a lot of these traditional companies that maintain quality, and they're just like, hey, we're not launching a new cigar every year. We're staying consistent. But then I also like the gimmicky stuff too. So I'm kind of disjointed. I like a little bit of both.
That makes sense. I mean, look, I think if there's one thing that came great out of last year was, I mean, I don't know if it came from last year. I don't know if it started the year before, but it just seems like everybody's kind of become a little bit more innovative and doing cool things. And I think it's good for the culture in general as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, I think especially when we're trying to, you've got a new generation and people that are different things appeal to them. We're not the industry of where it's single malt scotch and your grandfather's smoking a cigar on the porch. I mean, we still have that, but you have to adjust, you have to adapt. So I think for a cigar consumer, there's never been a better time to be into cigars because you've got so many different options. You've got so many companies that aren't just, throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. There's limited editions. There's really cool tobacco. So I think this is a really cool time for our industry. And there's a lot of great product out there right now.
I've kind of been dubbing it the Renaissance. It's almost like a little renaissance in our industry that's going on right now.
And you've even seen it with like pop culture and things like that. Like a lot of these celebrities are smoking cigars. It's becoming more the forefront. And it's almost like we're kind of going back into those days of everybody needs a little break and having a luxury experience, whether that's, bourbon or wine or cigars. People are starting to find that little bit of time, that escape for an hour and a half to enjoy a great cigar, a great cocktail.
Cool. Well, that is As the Record Spins, brought to you by Avo Cigars.
Another successful. Yeah, I enjoyed that. I think it's cool. Like, you have a unique opportunity in what you're doing too, Justin, where you, like you said, like, these guys, they answer your calls when you call them. A lot of people are saying, no, you don't want to work for Eric. But when you said you're not sure if Jack and Hector are working, I think Eric is asking the same question.
I don't think it's fair.
And I'm going to get blamed for these questions by Jack and Hector now.
Listen, I got to defend I don't think it's fair to put Hector and Jack in the same sentence.
I love those guys. I love Espinosa Cigars. I really do. And the funny thing to me is that I still meet people, from where I am from on Long Island, that still don't know of Espinosa. And it's funny because they're so big in the world that we live in. So it's kind of cool to like give them a Laranja and just see what their reaction will be, when they smoke that cigar, and the guys that are, in their late 40s that are smoking cigars their whole life, and like, how the hell do I not know about this cigar?
Because it's one of the things I constantly try to remind my team, right? Because it's very easy for us to build a little microcosm that we exist in, right?
Right.
And then we make most of our judgments by what we're seeing on social media. Now, I don't know statistically what the exact number is, and probably Justin's company would have more technical data than we would ever know. But like, my assumption is probably only 20% of those who consume cigars are really on or active in any fashion as far as cigars in social media. So you have this huge portion of the country that enjoys cigars, smoke cigars, but hasn't quite figured out the interactive culture component of it, So they're enjoying a product and not really enjoying the lifestyle. My goal in this industry as a retailer is to get more of these people involved in the culture, because that's the part I love the most about what we do. So, then that's what you forget. So you always get shocked when you go somewhere. How do you not know this brand? How do you? They're not anywhere where they've been exposed to that brand,
right?
Because if their main source of information is the one local cigar shop they go to, and they don't carry that brand, well, this guy's never going to know it.
You're spot on. When we are the vocal minority when it comes to the lounge lizards, the guys that follow the blogs and follow everything. And what I didn't notice until I went to work for General, you don't see the guy that's buying a box of Excalibur #2s every Saturday. You don't see the guy that's buying 3 boxes of Punch a month, because he's not the guy that's going to come sit down and talk about whatever the latest and greatest in cigars is. It's like clockwork. And so for me, it was a huge exposure and enlightenment to see these legacy brands and these other brands that are so successful, because again, I was the guy that was sitting in the lounge talking about Espinosa, talking about Tatuaje and this stuff. So yeah, we are definitely a small microcosm of the overall consumption in the category. And it's funny, speaking of Espinosa, I used to manage the Tarano brand, and Jack worked for me, and we worked together, and we were always coming up with some cool ideas and trying to get stuff to work, and some of our ideas didn't make it to market. And then 6 months later, after Jack has left us to go work for Espinosa, we're making a cigar together. So it's funny how that stuff works, comes full circle.
Alan, the fake Alan Rubin, coming with hard facts always. 95%. I'm surprised he didn't put a decimal period after it. Of cigar smokers don't follow companies on social media or read blogs. Well, thank you for giving us the hard information, probably gathered by Santa Clara, who you work for. Appreciate it. Giving out internal company debt. No, I mean 95. But that's the point.
Yeah.
As cigar guys or geeks or nerds or consumers, or whatever label you want to put on it, we always assume that the universe that we exist in is the whole cigar verse. And it's literally like it's just a tip of the iceberg. The rest of it's all below the water that we don't see.
Yeah, Abe, I can attest to that, and I could look at the data from Cigar Coop, and I could tell you the most read articles are from the nationally known companies, the tried and true brands, not the Facebook cigars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That makes sense.
I'm no Alan Rubin, but I did read a book a few years ago called Brewing Up Business, about Dogfish Head brewing, and I forget the owners. It's one of the few books I've read in my life, and he said, the beer market, there was 95% of it was controlled by like Miller Coors, Anheuser-Busch, but within that 5%, there's a lot of money to be had and a lot of beer to be sold. And I think his company did like $95 million that year in revenue.
Yeah, they're huge now. Yeah.
Yeah. So it does kind of put things in perspective in any category, that there's, it's a big pond, and even for the small fish, you can still eat and have a lot of fun.
That's the 5% where we try to swim in, we realize that, and that's how we run our business. So totally a true statement. All right. Should we see what's the scoop with Coop this week, Paul?
Oh yeah, I guess we're gonna actually do a scoop with Coop, even though he's here, right? Yeah, all right.
Why wouldn't we
do that?
Why wouldn't we? That's what he does.
Hold on, I was just trying to kill time before I could get the video.
You were buying some Sinal wines. That's what you were doing.
Hey, guess what time it is?
Hey, yo, what's my theme music?
The Scoop with Coop. Breaking industry news. Hear it first on KMA Talk Radio and cigar-coop.com.
All right. Actually, start off with some news. It's not really good news, unfortunately, but this came out on Thursday night. There was a major fire at a farm in Honduras called the La Musica Farm, and that farm grows and cures tobacco for Alec Bradley Tobacco. And unfortunately, there were several curing barns. There were actually 3 curing barns that were destroyed in the fire that also contained Alec Bradley Tobacco. So Alan Rubin was actually down in Honduras when this happened. They think the cause of the fire was electrical at this time. As far as the tobacco goes, that was tobacco planned for a crop, for releases in 2025, 2026. So while there is a loss of tobacco, there is time to recover from that, in terms of growing more. But nonetheless, they did lose some tobacco there, some significant amount of tobacco. Unfortunately, they were not insured for the tobacco, nor could they be insured for tobacco. And I guess I could kind of understand, or excuse me, for the fires and those curing, but I guess I can understand that. But nonetheless, it was not some good news coming out of Honduras this week.
Well, and I spoke to Alec yesterday because I wanted to mention this to him. This picture that's circulating of his dad, of Alan with Hugo, the owner of the farm. I could just it's like the epitome of who the real Alan Rubin is, right? Abe, like he's that kind of guy he's saying, I can see what he's saying to him. He's like, don't worry about this. We got this.
Yeah.
We're going to help you. Like he's just that kind of guy. And I saw that picture the other day and I just commented on it to Alec. I was like, I hope all is well. And the one good thing is nobody got hurt. There were no injuries or.
Yeah.
I saw that picture and all I saw in my head was, I told you not to use that outlet. I'm just kidding. No, listen. Actually, I talked with the boys, and Alan texted me back. Look, nobody got hurt, which is the most important thing. Yeah. And it's a setback, of course, but not a major blow or anything. Right. And these things happen. What I don't really understand, because this is a common. I mean, look, this is one of those things. Maybe Justin can give us some insight because this is not my universe. But look, I get you can't maybe insure it. I get these places are in the middle of nowhere. So by the time, somebody notices and actually gets there, you're losing most of whatever's caught on fire. How hard can it be to install some kind of reservoir sprinkler system that would, I guess maybe the water damage would ruin the tobacco, so it really wouldn't save anything. I don't know. It just seems to be such a common problem. I figured some people would figure out how to try to help prevent it or limit it in some way.
And it's happened. We've seen this happen. It happened to AJ a few years ago, Justin, if you remember. He lost a curing bar. I remember it was like 1 year around Christmas time. So it's not like this is uncommon. Doesn't happen every day, but it has happened to, we've heard about.
I think it happens annually to somebody.
Fuentes had theirs. It's happened with Fuente a couple of times, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's one of those things we've become accustomed to. It is kind of an annual occurrence. And Abe, to your point, there's not a simple fix to it. There's a couple factors. Again, proximity to any help. By the time you understand what's going on, and by the time the help gets there, it's pretty much too late in every scenario. More oftentimes than not, it is something to do with electrical, and creating something like a sprinkler system that, would conceal the fire but not damage the tobacco is the challenge. But the key is mostly electrical. And it's unfortunate, but it shows again, kind of the backside of what we do. We see the cigars on the shelf with the nice label and the nice box, but it's all this work that goes into getting the cigar to that position, and not only curing the tobacco and harvesting the tobacco, but maintaining it and trying to avoid things like this. Man, it's a huge part of our process and what we do. So it just kind of puts things in perspective that, we enjoy these cigars and we can be critical of them, but it's a small miracle that these things even happen when it comes from the process of the tobacco to rolling and then getting the cigars stateside. It's something. My heart goes out to Hugo and those guys because it's devastating.
Yeah, it was like I said, but and good people too. They're all good people, so that's makes it harder. All right,
how about something happy, Coop?
Yeah, so I'll turn this. Justin mentioned this earlier. At the beginning of the week, there was an announcement of a new Cohiba cigar called the Serie M. And what's unique about this Cohiba is Justin mentioned it's coming out of the El Titan de Bronze factory in Miami, so it's the first Cohiba being made in the U.S. The other interesting, I think, part of this story is Sean Williams, who's I would say the face of Cohiba. he's involved a lot in all aspects of that brand. Sean used to own a company called Premier Mundo Cigars before he came to General, and he did a lot of his blends out of that factory. So this was kind of a homecoming for him to kind of do a project out of this factory. I'm pretty excited about this cigar to see what's going to come out about this. So this is it's a cigar that features a Nicaraguan Corojo wrapper, a double binder of Nicaraguan tobaccos, and Nicaraguan and Dominican tobaccos with a filler. A limited release of 5,000 10-count boxes in a 6x52 Toro. And the packaging really looked nice. It has that fantail cap on it. I love the stuff that comes out of El Titan de Bronze. So, again, this is kind of an interesting, like kind of what you said, Justin. You guys are working with some smaller factories and just showing you guys could be very agile here.
Yeah, this was one of the most exciting projects that I've ever worked on in my time in the industry. And I've been a big fan of Sandy and El Titan for a long time, and a lot of the cigars that come out of there. One of the first cigars I smoked out of there was the La Polina Goldie. And ever since then, man, I've been a big fan, and obviously spending a lot of time in Miami and having spent time at the factory with Sandy. It was one of the things on my list that I wanted to do. And as I was going through the process of kind of trying to figure out what made the most sense and what cigar, what we could do out of El Titan that didn't have a profile that our cigars out of any one of our factories currently has. And Cohiba just kept popping up. We had the El Credito factory there with Ernie, and La Gloria has some ties to Miami, but Cohiba, we haven't done a whole lot with that brand as far as pushing the envelope outside of our General Cigar and STG factories. So I was a little nervous because, Cohiba, we're very protective of that brand, and Sean is doing a great job. So when I went to my boss and I kind of laid out the pedigree of El Titan and some of the great stuff that they were doing, and I'd smoked a cigar from there that had this amazing Corojo wrapper, and we didn't have a Cohiba in the portfolio with a Corojo wrapper. Obviously, I knew the history there between Sean and Sandy and Willie, and man, it was great. I pitched it to my boss. We took a trip down to meet Sandy, and if anybody's ever met Sandy, it's hard not to fall in love with her and her passion. And the really cool thing, the rollers that she has, we kept it a secret from them the whole time. They had no idea what they were rolling. And when we went down there and finally when the production was finished and we showed them the packaging, the pride that these rollers from Cuba in Miami had in rolling this Cohiba. I mean, they were banging the Chevettas on the table. I mean, it was I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. It was truly awesome. And for me, obviously, Sean and I have been friends for a long time, but to work with Sean with the tobacco and the cigar and it was a great experience. And I mean, I can't brag about the blend enough. So I hope if people get the opportunity to smoke one, I hope you take advantage of it, because I can tell you, you will not be disappointed in this cigar.
Now, is this going to be a limited run? Like, I mean, it's going to be one of those hard to find cigars?
It is. It's extremely limited. So I would try to get it while you can. They'll be trickling into the market here in the coming weeks. But yeah, very, very limited production.
Yeah, like I said, Justin, and the other thing I like is, it really kind of, the way you guys packaged it, it looks like it goes great alongside those premium Cohibas. So I think you guys really nailed it with that as well.
Yeah, and I wanted to, I like to be disruptive, and sometimes my company would probably argue that sometimes that's a good thing and sometimes it's not. And the reason that I wanted it to be Cohiba is because I really wanted people to sit back and go, wow, we didn't expect that to happen. So I'm excited, and I think it just gives you guys an idea of some of the cool stuff that we're going to do. And I'm so thankful that I've got a company that allows me to go out and make some of these crazy ideas happen.
Justin, I got to say this, though. I didn't know you were behind that project. They left your name off. I mean, I got to be honest with you.
Well,
I mean, I'm just finding this out now. I didn't mean not to give you credit. I just didn't know.
Well, Coop, I get left out of a lot of things.
I know.
It's funny we had that. I did the War Zone with Espinosa, and it got number 13 cigar of the year. Which for me, I mean, doing this 11 years, coming from a little warehouse in Greenville, North Carolina, reading Cigar Aficionado. I mean, I would dream of the day of having a cigar that I made pop on that list. So it was kind of an emotional thing for me to see that. And then the press release, the copy comes out and I'm not mentioned. So I'm used to it now. I'm just going to embrace the behind the scenes thing. But yes, as my biggest thing is winning. And I think it was Ronald Reagan said a long time ago, you can get a lot of stuff accomplished if you're not worried about who gets the credit for it. So I try to put my millennial constant need for validation aside and just enjoy being part of the process. So so Coop, I think you and Hafu occasionally, but I think you're probably the only one who mentions me in press releases these days.
Like I said, you weren't left off on purpose. It was just I didn't know that. So, because Justin and I have had this conversation, that's why. I thought Justin would have pinged me saying, "Hey, Coop, you didn't know." So.
No, it's not about me, man. It's about the cigar. But yeah, I'm happy to be kind of leading the charge for this whole collaboration initiative and utilizing other factories and stuff like that. So I'm excited.
I think it's an exciting project for you guys, so I'm looking forward to it.
Cool. What else you got going on, Coop?
All right. There was news out of Davidoff this week. The Zeno brand is kind of getting a relaunch or a jump start.
Again?
Again. They have announced a new Zeno, which is basically, it's going to be called Zeno, is the name of the brand. So it's just kind of a Zeno brand. It's going to be more of a value price Zeno, and it features all new packaging right now of this. So it's a completely different look for this Zeno. You'll see it doesn't have the silver and black bands. It has more of a yellow band. You
got an image of this, Paul?
It's on Coop.
I can, yes.
Yep.
You know what's funny, and I'll let you finish the story, but that brand for the longest time they tried to make into a brand that this is a brand you should get if you don't have white label. It just never really, I don't know, maybe not just in our part of the country, but it just never really stuck as the secondary white label brand. This might be a good pivot for them.
I think and I've always liked the Zeno cigars that have been produced. They're very good blends, but it's kind of a brand that they don't sporadic. It's not a brand it's dormant a lot. They kind of come out with this is the first new regular production Zeno in 10 years. There's been some limited here and there, but they really, like I said, they really haven't. The focus with Davidoff for the last 10 years has been the core Davidoff, Camacho, and Avo. So, they've had this Zeno brand out there for a while, and I've always liked the cigars there as well. They've done some very good blends under there.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, you have stuff to finish about the Zeno?
Basically, I think I kind of covered it. Just blend-wise, it's going to be Ecuadorian wrapper over Nicaraguan binder, and fillers from Honduras, Nicaragua, and the Dominican. They try to do some other things with Zeno. Like Zeno goes a little out of the box with Davidoff. So you'll see, like Honduran tobacco, you really don't see in a Davidoff brand unless it's Camacho. So,
oh, wow. That's a great warning label.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they have that. And they also have fresh packs as well that they're doing. So they're going to try to put these fresh packs into not just premium cigar retailers, but they actually said they're going to be aiming some of those fresh packs at the convenience stores. Because, again, this is going to be a more affordable Zeno. I think everything I've seen, it's going to be under $8 for these cigars. So, yeah, I mean, some of the core Zeno people may not be happy with the packaging. I know some people do really like Zeno, but we'll see how it goes. I mean, I've always liked that brand, so I want that brand to do well.
Anything else, Coop?
Zeno's the last call.
Yeah.
Money.
Yeah, I have a couple more stories, depending on how long you want to go with the news. I have two more, but I'll mention this next one. Okay, this next one is coming from Mombacho Cigars, and I think if you heard last week, we announced that Claudio Sroy was leaving the company, and he was the guy who was running the Casa Favili factory in Granada. This week, they announced a new, kind of someone who's going to become the general manager of that factory, who's going to be running it on the ground down there. It's a woman by the name of Indiana Ortez. She's the daughter of cigar maker Omar Ortez. she's done some projects for Ventura Cigar. She's been working in her father's factory for a while. She's 27 years old. I've interviewed her. She's really sharp on tobacco, and she's going to be the person now kind of overseeing that factory in Granada. And so they got someone on the ground there now to do that. So interesting moves continue to happen out of Mombacho Cigars.
Omar Ortez made, I know, some lines for Altadis.
And Sindicato. Yeah, Sindicato too, right? I thought he did.
I would trust Coop.
All right. I can't say no, but I can say I don't.
I think Casabella was done by him.
Maybe there was at one point early on. I think there it's coming out of Aganorsa now, but I don't know.
Sindicato. I haven't heard that name in a while.
It's just blazing trails in the news.
What about Affinity Cigars? I found in an article that
Natsa. It's Natsa.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure. I'll have to find out, but I don't think so. I don't think so. Maybe he made one of the lines really early on, but I don't think so anymore.
Okay. But, I mean, I've smoked a lot of Omar Ortez's stuff. I mean, he said those Omar Ortez, I think he still got them. Those Omar Ortez originals are like $2 cigars, and they're great to smoke.
Yeah. Definitely a good factory.
Yeah, so, I mean, and I've interviewed her. She's very knowledgeable. She'll admit she's learning a lot. She's only 27 years old, but I think it's, Casa Favelli is not a huge factory either. It's a factory that's in Granada. It's not in Esteli, so she's relocating there. But I think it's a great opportunity for her, and I think they needed someone on the ground who maybe can grow, and I think that's a great role for her to go into.
And what's your last story, Coop?
Oh, this one's for Abe. So, Abe, I don't know if you saw this story. A lot of people did see this story. United Cigars this week announced they're releasing an NFT cigar. So, have you heard of NFT, Abe? I know. I know that because this is all related to that cryptocurrency, and NFT stands for non-fungible tokens. So these aren't actually cigars they're releasing; they're concepts.
All right, so finish your story. I hope.
So what they're doing is it's kind of analogous to concept cars that they do at car shows. Is they come out with these concept cars, and they're not really something that's been produced yet. So they've come out with a concept cigar called the Atabey Black, and that's a Maduro version of the Atabey, but they're not actually making the cigar. They're actually producing digital artwork that you can buy for some sort of a price, and you can have the honor of owning the original artwork for these digital cigars right now. So these NFTs are more of the rage. I can't say I have my arm around why people would do this, but apparently there is a market for this that's happened and people are interested in it.
My guys are buying digital horses.
Yeah.
As an investment.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Did you? So there you go. That's a good analogy. I didn't realize this was a big thing until this week. I just remember, Abe, that we had the cryptocurrency guy. I was on the studio that day. That was one of Abe's legendary performances on a show.
He was so
he hung up.
He hung up.
Yeah, it was.
I might just hang up on this guy. He wouldn't answer a question.
I'm
trying to ask him a question, and he keeps dodging it in this whole dissertation about something else. Like, why don't you just answer the question I keep asking you? I can't believe that people are going to pay. Do you know what they're selling this for?
The digital art?
Yeah.
$1,000 a box, and they also have individual artwork that is prorated for an individual cigar. So
I don't understand. What are you buying?
I just want to get this straight. United Tobacco is selling to consumers art of a cigar that doesn't exist, and to own this art that once I get, I could do whatever I want with. I can give it to 20 of my friends. They're charging $1,000.
Now, what they're doing, is the profits are going to Cigar Rights of the World. So it's not like they're trying to make it a money maker. But I think what they're trying to do here, Abe, is I believe there's a marketing play at this too.
The Atabey Maduro will come out.
Yeah, that factory in Costa Rica. They mentioned that the cigar technically conceptually going to have an Ecuadorian Maduro wrapper. I know that factory in Costa Rica works a lot with that wrapper. So it kind of makes some sense. They're going to create interest and buzz to get. Atabe's got a very good following, and they're creating some interest and buzz to do that. And it's kind of a creative way to do it. I don't know in the end if they're going to sell these artworks or not. That's a big question. I can't say that.
I want to personally meet the people who buy this shit. If anybody knows anybody that would buy something like this, please send us their Facebook page contact. I want to have them on the show.
Info at KMATalkRadio.com. They can.
I just want to meet the type of person that, even if you buy a digital horse that you're going to race as an investment, they sent me an image of a horse called Honest Abe. They wanted me to buy it. I said, "Get the fuck out of here."
I love this segment because this is exactly how it went when I tried to explain some of this to an older generation in my company. It's one of the things, Abe, I think. So if you look at like the virtual world, so a lot of it now, can you guys hear that in the background? I'm sorry. We've got some.
It's the landscapers. They do it to me all the time.
Man, I'm having some remodeling done on my house, and I told the guys not to show up till 12, but they're sawing. So this, this is what happens.
They're go-getters.
Are they building the new West Wing?
The Andrew.
It is, yeah, more of the west 100 square feet I've got.
Justin,
over there.
You're going to tell me you like this idea?
No,
I thought he was. Okay.
No,
Me too.
But the thing, it's all the rates. So if you look at like Gary Vaynerchuk and Elon Musk and these guys, they're talking about it. Artists have done it with albums. Artists have done it with their artwork. I think I saw one sold the other day for a couple $1 million. But basically, you have the rights to this in this virtual world, almost like a cryptocurrency. So I think the simplest way I could explain it is, you've got guys that play PlayStation, Xbox, and you're playing this, Modern Warfare or NBA 2K, and you can purchase something virtually that only your character will have within that virtual world. I don't know how I'm really interested to see how they make this practical with a cigar, because I was sitting back a few months ago going, there's no way we can do this with a cigar. And maybe I'm wrong, but it's basically if you have a character in this virtual world, you can have the exclusive rights to a horse, to a pair of sneakers.
Look,
to something.
I'm just going to say.
But where does this cigar live in the virtual world? Does it live as part of a network of people that have these virtual things?
I think if somehow we develop into some type of virtual cigar world and community, whoever has the Atabe might be the kind of the king of the block there for a little while.
Who gives a shit?
I was just gonna say the same thing.
Talking about.
Who cares?
Look, listen to me. I'm flabbergasted that this is even a possibility, because I even told my guys, I said, look, there are 12 guys in the room laughing their asses off. All right, because they're the guys that make all the money. All right, everybody else is the food for the up chain in these stupid ideas. I just don't know how you're going to buy a horse virtually and then pay. He's telling me these horses sell $5,000, $10,000, $50,000. I mean, what? Yeah. What? I mean,
and that was the funny thing is, I was told when I spoke to someone who knows about this, they said they're only selling them for $1,000. It's like not that much. I'm like, what?
$1,000?
For that box image, yeah. That was
now, hold on. I just want to clarify this. They paid $1,000 for the image that Paul just put up on the screen
for free. They gave us the image in the press release. They gave us the image in the press release.
I mean, am I confused? Am I just totally missing something?
They may be getting technically the ultra digital file. I mean, I can't see more than that.
So when they release the cigar, Coop will have to pay the guy for the rights to show the image on Cigar Coop.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
I do not understand it.
There are times where I'm kind of almost glad that death will eventually be on my door.
The first thing when I saw this was like, I'm going to talk about this with Abe on KMA, because I knew from that when we had the cryptocurrency guy on.
Look, let me tell you something. Look, in my whole career, we've never sold paraphernalia in my stores. Just and you make a lot of money selling paraphernalia and stuff like that. There's just certain things I'm not interested in making money on. I'm never going to get into this. I don't care how popular it gets, or whatever. This is some psychotic stuff. There's nothing tangible here. You got some picture. I don't get it. Somebody, Alan Rubin, why don't you explain it to me? Because you know everything. How much? I just don't get it. I don't get it.
I'm like afraid. Like, I don't want to know because I don't want to fall into this world. Like, I feel dirty talking about this.
How can you fall into this world? It makes absolutely no sense.
I'll take $1,000 from somebody. If you want that image, I'll sell it to you. I got it right here. I have it downloaded.
This is what I'm saying. If you don't think, I'm not saying with the Atabay cigar, but these guys who are selling digital horses or whatever the hell they're saying, if you don't think there's 12 guys in a room somewhere laughing their freaking asses off as they're buying mansions and shit, I don't know what you're thinking.
Let me ask you this question, though. Let me ask this. I talked to Aaron about this on the show Thursday. Imagine if Steve Saka did this, though. I think it would be a difference. I can see people saying, "Take my money."
I did see where Steve Saka did comment on this on Facebook. He was saying
there's no way Steve Saka thought this was a good idea.
It wasn't positive. And Abe, I think he said something close to you, like, "Well, at least I know I won't be around long enough to see this become
But if he did it, I guarantee you there would be people who want it. Like, I gotta get this. I guarantee you, if he did it.
I don't know.
We are talking about Atabay, though, so
look, he's got people. Look, what I look at is look, they're putting out there that we may do this Atabay Maduro, so it's kind of giving them some buzz with that because I think like I said, Atabay's got a pretty loyal following.
I'm serious. If anybody, I'll give you a $50 gift certificate if someone finds me somebody to get on this show who pays $1,000 for this. I need to talk to somebody.
Well, I don't want a virtual horse until I can bet on it, and then
listen to me. That's what they're doing. So I'm saying
they do it.
Right. You're buying a horse that you're going to race and try to race for money. That's controlled by some programming dudes. I don't even like to bet on a jockey because I think they're not jerk eating. You tell me you think this is a good idea?
I did see you can use Dogecoin to buy Teslas now, so and at least there's some currency there.
I researched this last night, Abe. When I saw that you posted that Italo lost another bet with you, and you were like, "This is from the guy that buys a virtual horse." So I looked it up because I don't even understand how it works. So apparently, there's over 100,000 types of breeds of horses that could be created, and it's all random what your horse will be, and then you can sell your horse and he races. Then you got to pay fees if you want him to go into the championship rounds where you can make money off of your horse. It's unbelievable,
dude.
It's a rabbit hole, and there's nobody in their right mind should be investing in this. But it looked like somebody had a horse named Honest Abe. I think Scotty has a horse.
Scotty found a horse named Honest Abe. He's like, "You should buy this." Get the fuck out of here.
My only hope with this is that somehow Abe gets sucked into this,
no way,
reluctantly, and he hates every minute of it. But yet, there's this whole thing.
If Honest Abe starts winning races,
it's not happening, brother. No way. Man, this Lillian Indris, I keep blocking her, but she keeps managing to penetrate our Facebook.
I got it. I have to do it. Yeah,
I did it. It's some bot, but she did it last week.
I have more control over it here, Abe, for both.
Shut her ass up.
I just did.
Annoying.
She was just blocked again, so it should be good. But oh my God. Woo! Actually, you know what? I'm going to reach out to her. She'd be a good client for me.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Is that the news, Paul?
I think that is the news.
That is your KMA news for this week.
Holy cow.
All right. Thank you, Coop. Woo! Oh, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love when Abe gets heated.
Oh, man. My cheeks are hurting from laughing.
Ridiculousness. How much more ridiculous can stuff get? I'm telling you. Anyways, Coop and I have, since the goat's not here, Coop and I have done a backup segment instead of Tales of the Tape, or it's going to be Tales of the Tape for a different kind of segment. I don't think we have a different intro for it.
We don't, but we can play the intro.
Right, but I want to prep it now since people don't know what it is, because when you're done with the intro, we're only going to have 90 seconds, right?
Yeah.
So,
but you got to remember, you got to unmute yourself immediately.
I got it. I'm professional. So, what Coop and I did was to keep the Tales of the Tape segment going, and I actually will not do anything about boxing because I am nowhere near knowledgeable as Coop and the GOAT. We did a challenge on the best frozen pizza. Here you go. Tale of the Tape coming up. All right. Honest Abe here. My favorite frozen pizza, I've got to go with a homegrown, is Home Run Inn Pizza. Home Run Inn is a restaurant chain known for their style of pizza as well as frozen pizza. They're headquartered in Woodridge, Illinois. In 1923, Mary Vincent Grittani owned a small tavern in Chicago, and when a home run from a nearby baseball game was hit through the tavern's window, they decided to rename it to Home Run Inn Pizza. In the 40s, she developed the pizza recipe that is still being used today. They have 9 locations in Chicago and 2 plants. Their pizza is distributed in 30 states, so it's not everywhere, but you can get it on Amazon. It's distributed in 30 states, and it was rated the #1 frozen pizza in August of 2013 by Consumer Reports. Now, it's a richer pie with a crisp crust, which I love. It's got a great sauce, but for me, the gold is their unique crust, made with all natural ingredients. Real cheese, contains no preservatives. Now, it's a little pricey for a frozen pizza, and you're probably going to pay a little bit for the historic name, but in my opinion, it's worth it. Not for everybody, but this is my top frozen pizza. And the president himself, David Portnoy, rates it top 3 of his favorite frozen pies. And I know that's because, his crust, he likes a much different type of crust, but that's my frozen pizza. Coop, I used all 90 seconds, so we'll let the bell ring out and you can do your 90 seconds. I wasn't prepped for how long to talk, but go ahead.
No problem. I haven't had that one, but my pick was a Screamin' Sicilian Pizza.
That's a good one.
You've had it. So look, here's the deal with frozen pizza. You remember frozen pizzas, you go back 30 years ago, they were terrible, right? But they've really improved on the crust with that. So a lot of these frozen pizzas that are the top ones, they just have better crusts right now. I think the difference with Screamin' Sicilian Pizza is they have a great crust. It's like one of those butter style crusts that they have on there. But the toppings that they put on there are incredible. I mean, like their holy pepperoni pizza, tons of pepperoni they put on it. So there's tons of toppings. The toppings are really, really good. The cheese that they use is excellent. And I'm a guy who likes Brooklyn style pizza, so when it's frozen pizza, I don't necessarily look for a thin crust. This is kind of, it's a little more of a pan style crust. It's not a Sicilian pizza though. That's the only catch. It's not a square Sicilian pizza. But I tell you, we've bought those, and it's definitely my favorite frozen pizza out there. Paul hadn't heard of it, which I was surprised about because it's very popular. At least in here.
I've never heard of it.
I was worried I was picking something too obscure. I'm glad you heard of it.
No, I definitely heard of it, and I agree with Chrissy Critchfield. The reason why I haven't bought it is the packaging is a little creepy on that.
Thank God. Thank you. I think it's offensive.
It's just a little creepy. It doesn't lure me in, so I've never tried it, but I have heard good things about it. Now, Home Run Pizza is rated always very well as far as frozen pizza, but like I said, like my wife doesn't care for it. It's one of those things you either love that crust because it's a unique crust. It's thicker than normal, but it's very crispy and then soft in the middle. It's got a really unique crust. So either you really love it and it's like the best pizza you ever had, or it's something you not care for. And it really just comes down to the crust. The toppings are fresh. They make them all, like I said, they don't use any preservatives from their plants, and they ship them all over the country. So it's if you haven't tried it, and any of you guys do try it, or get some Screaming Sicilian or Home Run Inn Pizza, comment on KMA. Let's see which one fares out better.
Yeah, that was a good pick. Yeah, the one thing
You
I'll
have
say
an
about the
A cup.
packaging, let me say one thing about the packaging and the screen. I get what you're saying on that, the kind of creepy aspect, but I do like how they have the window that kind of shows a little bit of the pizza kind of in that guy's
In the
teeth.
dude's mouth with teeth.
Yeah.
It's weird.
And it's kind of like why like, I always say I don't like craft paper bundles on cigars because you can't see the cigars. Sometimes with the frozen pizza box, the same thing. I really want to see what it looks like under the covers, and at least with this, I can kind of look at it and see what the frozen pizza is.
I don't
on
know,
there.
man. Coop, as an Italian, you're not offended by that. You can stereotype Italians, and it's okay. Any
What
other
were you-
ethnicity, it's a problem.
What were you offended by The Sopranos?
No, because but
But
we
there were a lot
talked
of
about
people
this.
who were. There were a lot of people who were, though.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
But we talked about this. They showed both worlds and both sides. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Listen, you guys are the only people. When I have a frozen pizza, I'll have like pizza bagels or whatever is in the. Because I'm not looking for real
Ew.
pizza. It's not real pizza.
Ew.
No frozen
Well,
pizza is pizza to me.
Pizza rolls.
You know what?
It's not, and I don't think you should try to compare it to that. But it is. It's a different. I think it's just a whole different animal. You look. That's how I look at it.
The way I look at home
Yeah.
running pizza, it's something I would enjoy, like I would enjoy some pizza going out. It's not my backup. I actually enjoy eating that home running pizza.
I gotta try it.
And if you're in South Florida, I don't know if you're one of the states it's in, but I know Amazon sells. I know you can get it in the mail, comes frozen. But if you're in South Florida, Publix does carry home running pizza. It's one
Well,
of the
hold on. Let me just ask you this, Abe. If you're in the mood for pizza and you have an opportunity to have like the real Grimaldi's from Brooklyn or have that, like would you consider them the same thing? Like real pizza
no.
and not
You
frozen?
got to remember,
Okay.
if I'm eating that home run in pizza, I see it like I'm eating a different food entity. That's what I was.
Yeah.
looking
Okay.
for.
That's okay.
I'm not.
All right.
If I want real pizza, I go out for real pizza. But sometimes, man,
Right.
I haven't had a home. Sometimes I'll be going through. I haven't had a home run pizza like in a year or two. I'm going to take one or two of these home and cook them up because that's what I want.
All right. I mean,
Now,
I
here's
guess
the thing. I mean, I make pizza at home. I throw the dough up and we do it with the kids. We make a big, fiesta.
I've seen your Facebook
So,
posts.
I like having pizza, but let's make digital pizza. There you go. You
Oh,
start a digital
no.
pizzeria place. You can buy your own pizza. It'll be like yours exclusively. And you'll have the rights to it digitally.
Yeah.
Genius.
Cavelli, you better, Alex. Listen, man, you better go copyright that right this second, right now,
You
man.
can
Trademark it.
you can enjoy your
We can guarantee you the fastest delivery ever.
you can enjoy your virtual pizza and then have a virtual cigar afterwards, and you'll be all
And a virtual
set.
glass of wine. What is Bonner Wines doing? We'll do virtual wine. Forget about shipping.
Man,
Virtual
if we had
pairings.
Yeah, if we had the technology, I'd totally start making you do like a virtual Bonner's Wines commercial. All right, we're coming up to the end here. Thanks for participating in that. That was my idea. It was one of the things I was actually kind of versed enough to talk about. So thanks, Coop.
Good job. Good job, Abe.
It's time to close out the show, and let's see who this week belongs in a cigar insane asylum.
Welcome to the Cigar Asylum,
Did you know I'm utterly insane?
We all go a little mad sometimes.
where logic and reason cease to exist.
All right, ladies
Man,
and gentlemen, this week.
I really got to lose weight. I'm so much thinner in that picture.
This week, we're going to see who belongs in a cigar insane asylum. I have not pre-read this, so.
Oh, God.
Okay, yeah, let's see. This week's inductees, more than one, were just trying to take part in something special. The art piece by an American graffiti artist showcased in South Korea was damaged by a couple in their 20s who thought the sets of paint and brushes laid out in front of the artwork were for spectators' use. Yep. Staff at the gallery exposition noticed new brush strokes on the piece after checking the security camera. 2 suspects were taken by police for investigation. According to museum officials, the graffiti was not framed due to its large size. The vandalized art was 22.9 by 7.8 feet and was the only piece in the exhibition without frames and displayed in conjunction with the paint and brushes used by the artist as part of the exhibit. The props were part of the exhibition to help highlight the history of the artist's work. The damaged art piece by artist Jean Won is worth about $440,000, according to the museum. Now, is this the damaged art piece, or is this the how it was? Wow,
this is the damaged art piece. I have a zoomed in version of it. Hold on, I'm
looks like they bought the chain to do it. I mean, how stupid can you be?
Oh, that's what I was about to say. How can you tell if it's damaged or not?
So those 3 brush strokes, the greenish black, that's what was added to the piece.
Wow.
Ooh.
I think it gives it character.
Since the accidental painting, the agency in charge of the exhibition has provided additional guidelines for spectators and increased the surveillance around the work to prevent such misunderstandings from taking place again. Basically, when you go to a museum, don't start painting. Congratulations, artist couple. You are this week's inductee into the Cigar Insane Asylum. Holy cow. I agree with Casey. I think it's more valuable now.
Yeah. You could do maybe they could do a NFT version of it.
I mean, really, how can they consider that damaging the art?
I'm not going to touch this. But who goes into a museum thinking that they can paint on the canvas?
Hold on. Maybe they thought that was okay. Hold on. In their defense, I could totally see that being part of an exhibit where they had brushes and everybody got to walk up, grab a can, add their stroke, because that's what that wall looks like, you know. But they did have a chain thing in front of it. Who's going beyond the chains to do that? If it was wide open, I have zero issue with what they did. But they literally had to pass a chain.
Yes.
Or that chain, you know what? Hold on. That chain could have been added after they did it, because the chain is up with the mistake on it.
It actually does not. Yeah, it does not say whether or not that was there or not. So
they said they did add some things afterwards to prevent it from happening again. And it might have been a chain thing up in front of it. Geniuses. I think the museum belongs in the Cigar Insane Asylum.
That's fine. You could say that.
This is.
I don't know why there's a sneaker there.
This is probably the same couple that comes to a cigar event and takes my cigars off the table, and they go, "Oh, I thought these were samples for everybody."
Right?
Like, yeah. Right. Grabbed a lighter, a cutter, a handful of cigars.
Do you? I have a question for you, Justin. This is highly out of the ordinary for us, but I'm getting text messages from Matt Booth right now. Do you have like an inside joke with a nickname with him?
Oh man, he's on a different coast, man. I thought this was too early for him to be up.
I'm looking. I'm telling you, text after text after text.
Man.
He's telling me to call you your nickname.
You know your intro to the show. You know, Italian Stallion, Honest Abe, Coop the Scoop. you guys have some legit, nicknames. Me
and
again, like not getting mentioned in press releases. I had to explain to my bosses years ago what a hashtag meant on Instagram. So my company calls me Hashtag because I was the only one that knew anything about social media at the time. And then Matt posted a picture years ago of us at our factory in Honduras, the Hadza factory. And he said, enjoying a cigar with Fuzzy Wuzzy. And about a month later, we're giving some presentations to our executive board, and our vice president of sales pops up this picture and goes, and next we're going to have Fuzzy Wuzzy present his brand plans for El Rey del Mundo. And I'm like, oh, God. So, Matt calls me Fuzzy Wuzzy, and my girlfriend loves it too. So now, now I'm Fuzzy Wuzzy, apparently.
I'm telling you. Maybe 10 text messages from him right now.
Thanks, Matt. I appreciate it. Well, I have it coming to me. When we did a cigar show together, and I came in and my name was Matt Booth's dad. So I got it coming, I guess.
Well, we want to thank you for coming on the show.
Yep.
It was awesome having you. We didn't even really get to touch on the Diesel brand, which we want to do. So we'll definitely have to have you back one day to talk about that. As well and future projects.
Yeah, I didn't even see that. It was in the middle.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if you get a chance, my new cigar Diesel Esteli Puro is on the market now with AJ and I. So it's It's an awesome cigar. All the tobacco is grown in Esteli and rolled in Esteli. So it's the new thing. But yeah, thank you guys for having me. I'm always humbled that, you know, anybody wants to sit around and listen to what I have to say. So it's been a lot of fun. I'm a big fan of what you guys do. So this is great. And Coop, we're like family now. I talk to you quite a bit. So
yep, exactly.
Familiar face there. But no, thank you guys for having me. This was a lot of fun. I got to go buy some NFT artwork in hours after we get off here.
All right,
Don't
guys.
you dare.
Thanks, everybody. Always a pleasure. We hope everybody has a great weekend out there. Enjoy it. Next week, we'll be back with Kevin Sheehan from Cigar Prop.
Cigar Prop.
But until then, keep it lit.
Yeah.